Welcome to Module 3, Sculpting Part 3, Adding Details to a TSpline Form. This lesson will introduce you to the Insert Edge command. First, we'll take a look at Insert Single Edges to add detail where it's needed, followed by inserting edge loops to add detail across an entire body, and then we'll look at some of the fine-tune parameters when inserting edges between simple and exact to understand better the influence of those modifications. Here's a visual picture of where we're going in this lesson. We'll insert single edges shown on the left and edge loops shown on the right. Please note that I have symmetry turned on for both examples denoted by the green line. And last, we'll take a look at insert edge insertion modes. On the left, you'll see the one for simple. So you can see the before, and I'm adding edge loops to either side of the highlighted edge loop in yellow, and notice what happens when I apply it using the simple. It will not add points, but will change the shape of that form. Now let's contrast that with the exact insertion mode. You can see, expanding on the previous example, I'm going to add edge loops to the left-hand side of that form, and when I use the exact mode, it will maintain its shape by adding additional points to keep that curvature. To follow along in this lesson, please create a new design file in Fusion 360. TSpline forms are flexible in the fact that edges can be inserted at particular locations as well as deleted. It is very common to add additional edges to a TSpline form in the early design stages and remove excess edges towards the end to ensure a very smooth form. Let's begin by creating a TSpline form. Go up to the Create toolbar for Sculpt. Go ahead and enter the Sculpt environment. Return back to the Create toolbar, and let's select the box primitive. Go ahead and choose the bottom plane to host the box form. And in the dialog box, make sure rectangle type is set to center. Go ahead and choose the origin point of the file as the beginning point. For side 1, enter in 175 millimeters and hit the tab key to accept. And for the second side, enter in 100 millimeters and hit the tab key to accept. So for the height, we'll leave that alone for the moment, but for this side, let's go ahead and add 2 additional faces in this direction. For a total of 4. And in this direction, let's go ahead and add 3 additional faces for a total of 5. So just reviewing, the length is 175, number of faces is 5, width is 100, width faces is 4, height is 50, and height faces is 3. Go ahead and click OK to accept. Next, we'll set up symmetry for this model. Not required for inserting edges, but we will look at it through this example. So go up to Symmetry, choose Mirror Internal, and select 2 adjacent faces as shown here. The green line indicates where the symmetrical line is. Go ahead and click OK to accept. Now let's take a look at Insert Edge. Go up to Modify, select Insert Edge. Let's verify our dialog box settings here. For insert mode, let's make sure that's set to simple. For insertion side, set that also to single. Okay, in the model, hover over the edge that you wish to insert a new edge from, left click to confirm, and then you can use the drag handle to visually locate where you want the new edge to appear on either side of that original edge that you chose. Likewise, you could also specify a value just by typing it in, so it's basically a percentage thereof to the adjacent face. And because I have the symmetry turned on, it also inserted another edge on the other side of the symmetry line. Now let's take a look at Insert Edge for edge loops. If you hover over the edge and double left click, we'll select all the edges in that plane. Go back up to Modify, choose Insert Edge. 0.5 is good for me for the location. Just confirming the modes again in the dialog box. We're good. Go ahead and select OK to accept and create those new edges. Now let's set up the environment to explore specific insert edge modes. Let's go ahead and place the following faces in a common selection set using Shift left click. From the right click marking menu, go ahead and choose Edit Form, and let's drag these faces vertically upwards to a value of 70 millimeters, and then hit the Enter key to accept that value. In the first example, we'll study the simple insertion mode in more detail so we can better understand its behavior against the model. First, let's go ahead and change the view orientation to right. Next thing we need to do is remove the symmetry for the model. Let's return back to the symmetry toolbar and choose clear symmetry. Select the model and then click OK. So now that symmetry is turned off, let's go ahead and make an edge loop selection. Again, double left clicking. That's the edge that we'll be studying. We'll insert edge from the modify toolbar. This time we'll change the insertion side to both. And let's set the insert location to -0.5. So this is the before shape before we apply these settings. And then when we click OK, that's the after effect. So it doesn't add more points, but it does change the shape significantly. Now let's repeat the process studying the exact insertion mode. So again, like before, go ahead and double click to select that edge loop. Go up to modify, choose insert edge. Confirm that the insertion location is set to -0.5. And for the insertion mode, make sure it's set to exact. All right, so this is the before. Go ahead and click OK to accept. And notice that the shape maintains, but it does add additional points to maintain that curvature. Let's change the view to home view to look at this from a different perspective. And visually you can see that the topology is different from side to side. If we enter the box mode using the Alt-1 key combination, it makes this clearer. So on the left is the exact insertion mode representation, and then on the right hand side is the simple insertion mode representation. Let's change the display mode back to smooth using the Alt-3 key combination. And next we'll take a look at inserting points along an edge and understand how it can add additional control to edges. Let's go up to the Modify toolbar and go ahead and select Insert Point. Let's confirm the insertion mode is set to exact before proceeding forward. Then hover your cursor over the edge where you wish to insert a point. The red dot just confirms that the point will be equidistant from the adjacent edges. Left click to insert the point and then click OK to accept. Notice it adds a new edge to maintain that shape. Now let's take a look at deleting edges and points. So yes, it is possible to select an edge and then hit the delete key to remove that edge downstream. And of course, we can repeat that process by selecting points and deleting that. Just understand it may change the shape of your forms accordingly. Go ahead and remove another point. And I'll continue on here, just deleting a few more. It is possible to delete too many points or too many edges where you may create a situation where you have self-intersecting edges, and then that will cause your model to go into the box display mode to inform you that you have a situation like that. So it is good to understand how to kind of diagnose what's happening in the model for these situations. So let's study this side of the model, and let me remove some additional points and edges to see if I can create a situation where I create self-intersecting edges. Let me change the display mode to box display using the Alt-1 key combination. And then let me start removing some additional features and see if I can create a non-watertight model. And I'll just continue on here, deleting a few more points. Let me try another face or another edge. Okay, let's try this one. So it's not showing what I was hoping, but let me choose finish form. Now I get the warning. So it told me it can't accept that. So I hit return to close out the dialog box, and let me do a Control-Z to get back to the original shape. I'll do that a couple times. There we go. And now I will go ahead and save the file. This concludes this exercise. Go ahead and save the file as O3 Sculpt Part 3 finished. And click Save to complete that operation. In the next lesson, we'll create a sculpted form using all the skills that we've learned up to this point. Create a sculpted form using a reference image.